Hey, welcome back. My home office is where I spend the bulk of my time working. It's a space that I've crafted in the last year or so to make it look the way I want and with the right gear to do my work, and I'm quite happy with its current state. But what doesn't stand out just by the looks of it is all the automations, smart features, and networking tech that play a big part in the quality of life improvements one needs in their home office. So that's what I'll go over in this video, which was made in collaboration with TP-Link. Super glad to have them as a sponsor. I'll have links to all the products showcased today, along with discount codes that are valid until the end of February 2023, so make sure to have a look if anything picks up your interest. With that being said, let's jump right in. So this whole space is my office. It's an extension of our house that communicates via the basement, but there's also an entryway to the outdoors. It features radiant concrete floors, which are really nice in the winter. It's not as bright as the main floor since it's a basement, but the windows are of decent size, so I do get some natural light, especially with that 10-foot tall one in the staircase. Speaking of which, I love how the stairs are made from Baltic birch plywood with black accents, so much so that it inspired certain furniture choices I made afterward, including the wall shelves in the corner, the coffee table in the lounge area, and the standing desk I picked for my desk setup. I love having this single 40-inch monitor as a main display with my 14-inch MacBook Pro right to the side. I really like how uncluttered it is, so I try to always clean things up as I leave for the evening so that I come back to a neat space next morning. I also recently added a Google Nest Hub here, which is the center of my smart home office. Right behind the desk is the lounge area with some furniture pieces I added in the last year. That's also where I set up my drum set, which I like to use whenever I take a quick break from work. This area features a motorized blind, which I haven't integrated to my smart home yet, but I'll do it soon, and then a bunch of smart lights on the walls. And I really like how these set the mood while I'm working. In fact, all of these are on a Google Home routine. They turn on in the morning before I start working and turn off when the day's over. And you know, smart lights are pretty cool, but these days I like to go with regular lamps with Edison style bulbs, and these aren't smart. So what I do here is rely on these Kasa Smart Wi-Fi Plugs Mini to have those standard lamps on a schedule, or at least easy to turn on all at once when I so desire. What I like about those is how small they are, which ensures they don't block out other outlets. And they're also super easy to set up, as with the other Kasa products I've tried. It's a matter of connecting to the plug's Wi-Fi network and following the steps in the app to connect it to your Wi-Fi router. These are compatible with Alexa and the Google Assistant, and I'm mostly controlling them with the latter, but even the Kasa app has most features you'd want. You can group them together and even set schedules. This space also has an air exchanger in the small mechanical room, which is vital to bring fresh air in, but it's quite loud, so I only want it running at night, and I've used a mini plug here as well. Once set on a schedule, it turns on in the evening and stops right before we go to work. But going back to lights, I went ahead and replaced all my light switches with smart ones from Kasa. My recessed lights are hooked to a Kasa Smart Motion Controlled Wi-Fi dimmer switch, so while they can be controlled via the app, Google Assistant, or with the physical button, movement and ambient light are also at play here, and this is super useful when it gets dark, especially during those winter evenings. I also set up custom smart control rules based on the time of day, so during the day, motion sensing is off as it would otherwise get a bit annoying. But in the evening, the lights are triggered by motion and will only turn on to 40% brightness so that they don't blind us as we go grab something we left behind during the day. This level of flexibility is very nice. The bathroom also has a Kasa Smart Motion Controlled switch, but I have it set up so it's always sensing motion, as this room is always dark even during the day and should always be on or off based on if someone's in there. Then the wall lights in the staircase are also hooked to a smart switch, but this one's hidden in the mechanical room, so it wouldn't be able to detect movement. So what I did is set up a smart action where the wall lights automatically turn on and off with the bathroom lights and recessed lights, which has the effect of hooking them to both motion sensors, and this is really nice, lighting up the trail to go upstairs. Then right beside the lounge area is where I have my second desk, which I set up in the last months for a long-term review. While I usually work from my main desk setup, I like to use this one too from time to time. It's also a very nice spot for filming, and I've used the space a couple times recently to showcase desk setup accessories. This squarish monitor I have it set up with is actually pretty nice for software development and productivity in general. And this is also where I set up one of my mesh Wi-Fi units from TP-Link. My main desk setup has wired Ethernet since I had a Cat6 wall outlet super close, but every other nearby wireless device connects to this access point, which is one of the 3 mesh units part of my Deco AXC5400 tri-band mesh Wi-Fi 6E system. They're also sold in packs of 2s, and realistically, 3 units is likely not needed for my space, as the 2-pack covers up to 5,500 square feet, and that is way more than the size of my home. I may just relocate one of these units to the shed for improved outdoor coverage eventually. My place has wired Ethernet in most rooms, so I wired these together for an even more stable mesh backhaul. All 3 units have 3 gigabit ports, leaving 2 ports free, which is great for devices that I want wired. But if wired Ethernet is not an option, you can also dedicate the 6 GHz band solely for the mesh backhaul, giving it the full 5400 megabits per second bandwidth instead of sharing it with Wi-Fi 6E devices as well. All of that config is pretty simple within the Deco app, and so was the initial setup, which was mostly just plugging one unit in the router first and then adding the other units by powering them on. I like that this mesh system is well suited for smart homes or smart home offices in my case, as it can have up to 200 devices connected at once, which is the reality of having a bunch of IoT devices connected as part of your smart home. With it installed, I noticed considerable improvements with my Wi-Fi network. More specifically, there are no more dead zones in rooms that had weak signal prior. I get better coverage outdoors too, and switching between mesh units seems to work more seamlessly. And you know, I really like this space. I've invested time and money to have it exactly to my likings, or almost exactly, but at the same time, it's in a separate section of the house with its own entry, so I do worry about what may happen when I'm not in there. And for that, I set up 2 of those Tapo indoor pan tilt cameras, which, as the name suggests, can pan and tilt via the app. One of them is on the frame of a window pointed at my workspace, while the other one is in the staircase to pick up activity from the entryway. Not only these allow me to quickly check on my office space within the Tapo app, on Google Nest Hubs, or on any Chromecast compatible screen, but they can also detect motion and then either send me a notification or trigger a set of specific actions. So I set these up to send notifications during specific time periods of the week where no one should be in there. This way, I'm not notified all the time when we're in there, but I can rest assured when I'm not. Finally, they also have local storage with a micro SD card slot, which is really nice to keep recordings handy if anything happens. So yeah, this is where I'm at with my smart home office. I have some plans in the future, including the addition of a smart doorbell for if we receive packages there, an RF emitter for my motorized blind. In fact, I'd like all the blinds to be motorized and either on a schedule or automatically controlled based on sunlight. We'd like some smart thermostats too, although these dumb ones are already on a schedule, which works for us now. Still, I'd like them to turn the heat up based on if I'm here instead of simply relying on a schedule. I know I don't have a lot of super advanced smart home routine setup or even base smart functionalities, and in fact, I'm curious to know if you have any ideas to suggest. I would hope to add new cool event-based routines, but can't think of anything else for now. Anyway, that's it for today's video. It's a bit different than what I usually do, so please let me know down below if you enjoyed. Hit the like button while you're at it, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, as I'll see you in the next video.